The Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, is one of the most prominent and powerful law enforcement agencies in the United States, tasked with protecting and defending the country from various threats, enforcing federal laws, and upholding the Constitution. With its long history, complex structure, and diverse responsibilities, the FBI plays a critical role in national security, law enforcement, and justice. Early history and formation. The FBI was founded on July 26, 1908, by Attorney General Charles Bonaparte during the presidency of Theodore Roosevelt. Initially called the Bureau of Investigation, BOI, its creation stemmed from the growing need for a federal investigative agency capable of tackling a variety of national crimes and enforcing federal laws. Before its establishment, law enforcement in the U.S. was fragmented, with various states, counties, and local authorities handling crimes within their jurisdictions. The idea of a centralized, federal investigative body was driven by the need to combat organized crime, corruption, and increasingly complex criminal activities. The BOI was initially a small operation, and its primary function was to enforce federal statutes, particularly in cases where state and local authorities were either ill-equipped or unwilling to handle the offenses. The agency's early cases were primarily concerned with enforcing laws related to land disputes, labor strikes, and antitrust violations. The agency gradually expanded its role as the U.S. government recognized the need for a more coordinated approach to law enforcement across the country. The rise of the FBI. In 1935, the Bureau of Investigation was renamed the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and its growth accelerated during the tenure of J. Edgar Hoover, who served as the FBI's director from 1924 to 1972. Hoover is perhaps the most well-known figure in the agency's history, and his leadership played a pivotal role in transforming the FBI into a modern, professional, and technologically advanced agency. Under Hoover's direction, the FBI expanded its role beyond investigative work to include intelligence gathering, counterintelligence, and a focus on combating major organized crime syndicates, including those involved in bootlegging during Prohibition. Hoover's era saw the development of the FBI's first fingerprint identification system, the creation of a national criminal database, and the development of new technologies such as surveillance methods and wiretapping. One of Hoover's most significant contributions was the implementation of a strict code of conduct and professionalism, which aimed to ensure that the FBI was not subject to political influence. Hoover's administration also marked the beginning of the FBI's aggressive stance on domestic threats, particularly during the Cold War era, when the Bureau became heavily involved in tracking and countering communist influence within the U.S. Expanding responsibilities. Over the decades, the FBI's jurisdiction has expanded significantly. The agency's mission now includes a wide range of activities, from counterterrorism and cybercrime investigations to dealing with organized crime and drug trafficking. Its reach has extended globally, cooperating with international law enforcement agencies such as Interpol, and sharing intelligence with other U.S. agencies like the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, and the Department of Homeland Security, DHS. The FBI is divided into several specialized divisions and units that focus on particular areas of law enforcement. These include the Counterterrorism Division, the Cyber Division, the Criminal Investigative Division, and the Intelligence Division, among others. Each division is tasked with handling specific types of crimes, such as counterintelligence operations, cyber attacks, public corruption, and organized crime. The FBI also plays an essential role in maintaining national security. It is responsible for preventing terrorist attacks, conducting counterintelligence operations, and responding to national security threats. The events of September 11, 2001, marked a major turning point for the FBI, which shifted much of its focus toward counterterrorism efforts. In response, the FBI was reorganized to improve coordination between its intelligence gathering and law enforcement functions. The FBI's legal authority. The FBI operates under the jurisdiction of the U.S. Department of Justice, and its responsibilities are defined by federal laws and statutes. The agency has the legal authority to investigate violations of federal law, apprehend criminals, and gather intelligence on domestic and international threats. Although the FBI's authority extends nationwide, it can also work internationally, typically in cooperation with other law enforcement agencies or through formal agreements with foreign governments. The agency's investigative powers include the ability to conduct wiretaps, surveillance, and use undercover agents to infiltrate criminal organizations. However, the FBI is bound by strict regulations to protect citizens' civil liberties and rights. This is a delicate balance the FBI must maintain, as it regularly faces scrutiny over its investigative tactics, particularly when dealing with sensitive matters such as domestic surveillance, intelligence gathering, and counterterrorism operations. Notable cases and controversies. Throughout its history, the FBI has been involved in several high-profile investigations and controversial actions. Some of the most notable cases in the FBI's history include the investigations of notorious criminals such as John Dillinger, Bonnie and Clyde, and the mafia bosses like Al Capone. These cases showcase the FBI's increasing role in confronting organized crime, which was a growing concern in the early 20th century. The FBI also played a key role in investigating civil rights leaders and activists during the mid-20th century. One of the most infamous and controversial aspects of the FBI's history was its surveillance of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., whom the Bureau attempted to discredit due to his civil rights activism. The FBI's actions against King, along with other civil rights figures, were later widely criticized as an abuse of power. Another period of controversy came during the Cold War, when the FBI led a campaign against suspected communists in the U.S. This included the investigation of numerous political activists, celebrities, and even government officials. The agency's role in the so-called Red Scare raised concerns about civil liberties violations, especially in the cases where the FBI engaged in aggressive surveillance tactics without sufficient legal justification. Modern role and challenges. Today, the FBI continues to face significant challenges as it adapts to a rapidly changing world. Terrorism, cybercrime, and the growing threat of state-sponsored attacks on U.S. interests are major concerns. The FBI has taken steps to modernize its operations, particularly in the area of cybersecurity, as cyber attacks from hackers and foreign adversaries continue to increase in sophistication and frequency. The FBI's role has also evolved in response to new laws and policy changes, particularly those related to privacy and the digital age. The use of digital surveillance tools, the regulation of social media platforms, and the growing influence of artificial intelligence present new ethical and legal dilemmas for the FBI as it works to protect the nation's security. Conclusion. The FBI remains one of the most influential law enforcement agencies in the world. It continues to evolve to address the threats of the modern world while balancing its responsibilities for enforcing the law and safeguarding individual freedoms. Although its history is marked by both praise and criticism, the FBI's role in ensuring justice and maintaining national security is undeniable, and its future will likely see continued challenges in an increasingly complex global environment.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe our channel.